Hello, today I'm gonna explain to you why I think Hollow Knight is a masterpiece. First, the map. Hollow Nest is the name of the area you are thrown into at the start of the game. It's full of beautiful designed areas with the wild color pattern. And the art design as a whole is just stunning, and there seems to be so much detail everywhere you look. It creates some sort of atmosphere in different areas. As an example, the first time you visit Kingdom's Edge, you are overwhelmed by the amount of completely new enemies and the beautiful snow which is covering the area, giving it a color pattern you haven't found before. Then later you find out the snow is the ashes of the fallen gladiators from the Colosseum of Fools. And then there is Deep Nest. It's not the most fun area to go through, but it captures the feeling exactly as it was intended to. It gives you an uncomfortable feeling through short vision and creepy sounds and spider coming out of nowhere. And every area has new enemies which are fun to fight and still can catch you off guard. The enemy variety is just insane. There are over 150 different enemies in an $8 game when you buy it off Instant Gaming. The amount of high quality content you get for your money is just uncomparable to arguably any other game. The way the game handles progression is also really interesting. It gives you multiple areas you can visit at once, except for some linearity at the start of the game. This differentiates it from other Metroidvanias, and the world never feels as plain and empty like it does in Blasphemous sometimes. Then there are the NPCs. There are very few NPCs, which makes it easier to follow their story. My favorite one of them being Quirrell. Now comes my favorite part, the combat. The combat is very simple at the start and doesn't overwhelm you with lots of new mechanics like Neo or Lords of the Fallen. It consists of a jump, your nail hit, and your movement. As you progress in the game, you unlock more and more abilities, which allows late game bosses to have more complex movesets. To specify, you get a dash, which can later be upgraded to a dash with iframes, a double jump, 3 different spells, and lots of charms to create your own build. Some of them changing mechanics like healing or your nail range by a lot. So, the combat system is simple and fun, but there is a part of combat which is way more important than the system in games like these. The bosses. Hollow Knight has around 50 bosses, depending on how your criteria on bosses is. Half of them are rather simple and pushovers in a way, which won't take you more than 5 tries, but they still make the world more lively and give you some sort of challenge. But I wanna focus on the other half, the ones with the more complex and challenging movesets, most of which have great design and movesets, which makes fighting them later in the pantheons still fun, and it feels good to master a boss's moveset. You mostly avoid their moves by dashing or jumping over the hitboxes, but the really hard late game bosses force you to iframe through their projectiles or find really tight windows to get attacks in. One of my favorite being the Mantis Lords. They're not particularly difficult, but the pace of the fight keeps you engaged, especially when the 3 fight you at once later in the game at the Pantheons. And once you defeat them, all the Mantis enemies in the Mantis village will stop attacking and salute you. And the most absurd part of this is that this game, with over 50 hours of content and so much bosses and areas, was created by mainly just 3 persons. 3 people were able to make a more atmospheric and more fluid game than most AAA producers nowadays. When you play the game, you see the work each one of them put in by art, music or animations to make this game a masterpiece. While most games fail to have a story which you wanna follow and fail to build up an atmosphere, which lets a simple character with no visual customization like the Night shine. This 3-person indie game producer, called Team Cherry, captured exactly this feeling we all were missing. A complex world to dive in and forget about the stress which haunts us in our daily day. And it's not often you see such thing. A cheap game with character and amazing visuals, fun and difficult combat system. And I think those aspects make Hollow Knight a masterpiece. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like in the comment. Bye.